I've been doing best ball drafts all summer, and I just finished up 3 of my home league drafts. So let's talk about my favorite players for you to draft in your regular ESPN league, or sleeper if you've gone fancy on all of us. An important note here, we are talking about normal scoring for QBs, no completion bonuses, 4 points for a passing touchdown, 6 for a rushing touchdown, PPR, in a league that starts 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. If your league only starts 2 wide receivers and a flex, then understand the value of a top quarterback or top tight end is much more significant than on rosters with more starting spots. Let's start off at QB. 2 of my favorite players, you'll notice a similarity here, are later quarterbacks, one of them not so much later, that have rushing upside. Anthony Richardson is probably my most drafted quarterback throughout both best ball and my regular leagues. I've drafted him in 2 of my regular home ESPN leagues. ESPN is very heavy-handed on where they have him ranked. I believe it's 40. They have him above Mahomes, which is pretty tough. But especially if you're in a 10-man league that only starts 2 wide receivers and a flex, I'm drafting Richardson every time. It's worth the potentially game-breaking rushing upside, and I believe he still has, the tools to be a pretty decent passer in the league. Reports have been, up and down about his accuracy, but I think he has the arm to make big plays all the time. And again, in fantasy, you don't need him to be a great real-life quarterback. You need him to get fantasy points, which I believe he will do this season. The second of those quarterbacks that I like with rushing upside is Jaden Daniels. He has rushing upside in a Cliff Kingsbury offense. That's all there really is to it. But people do overrate how much Kingsbury likes to throw the ball because of his 2022 season. But that 2022 season did see his team, the Cardinals, rank 4th in attempts. And through the course of his head coaching career, he never ranked below 18th. As the OC, I think he offers a great balance, which will help Daniels. And because of there's a decent rushing balance, I think there will be a couple designed QB runs in there because of Daniels' elite ability as a rusher. And even with the floor of 18th in attempts as a team in passing, I think that's fantastic for Daniels, especially at his current price in ESPN leagues. Some other quarterbacks, just quickly running through them, not going to talk too much about them, that I like just based off of the volume that they'll likely pass the ball and their current price in ESPN. Kirk Cousins is solid as a middle to late quarterback. Deshaun Watson is risky given how much he's struggled since returning to football, but the Browns should be another team that will throw the ball a lot. A player that, does offer some rushing upside, but you could pick up and not have to draft would be Drake May. If you're a team that doesn't take a top quarterback, May would be someone I'd put on your list to keep the watch out for, because I believe once he comes in, he offers, very underrated rushing ability as a quarterback, and I believe he could be a great add for teams that, choose not to take one of those top-end quarterbacks. For running backs, we got a lot here. We'll kind of start off, higher in ADP to lower, but we're really going to just jump around a lot, to be honest with you. First one, Devon Achane. I'm going to keep this one very simple, very quick. He's the Tyreek Hill of running backs, and you can get him after pick 20 in your ESPN leagues. Pretty simple. Someone right next to him in ESPN leagues, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry should have just fantastic consistency with this Ravens team. I do fear that Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell will maintain roles in the run game, but this is likely to be a top 5 offense, and Henry will be barreling through people every game. If there is any old running back that I'd continue to bet on, it's the biggest anomaly in football, Derrick Henry. Speaking of Justice Hill, I think he's a fine late running back, last pick of the draft flyer. If you are a running back needy team, you missed out on some early running backs, went receiver heavy. I think Hill can be someone that can provide you a little bit of like TD dependent upside in the first couple of weeks until Keaton Mitchell comes back. And he's also someone that I like taking late because by the end of week 2, you'll have an idea of his role in this offense. Like, his role is not going to increase after week 2. If he's not getting any touches, he's going to continue not getting any touches because of Derrick Henry. If he is getting touches, I don't believe that'll change at least until Mitchell is back. Let's go to now later in the draft, but one of my favorite players in ESPN because we're drafting to win your league, Jonathan Brooks. His ESPN price is fairly high, but for context, let me just check real quick. I was able to get him at pick 86 in one of my most recent drafts. In other leagues, I did have to draft him fairly higher, but Brooks is someone that I could see sliding in some home leagues just because people are worried about the injury. At the end of the day, I think he has the upside to be a league-winning running back. That's kind of the outlook I have on most of these RBs that get drafted and get early capital in the NFL draft. It's as simple as that. And considering the price that you can get Chuba Hubbard at, who will be the starter until Brooks is back, you kind of have the leeway to get someone very late that should, give you enough breathing room until Brooks gets back. Another great player, Najee Harris. Now, Harris does not have a massive ceiling, but I don't think that's why you should draft him. The Jaylen Warren injury, which now we're being told is not too serious, still does give Najee Harris an opportunity to prove himself in Arthur Smith's offense. Najee will not be the sole back. He will never be the sole back with the Steelers, especially with Arthur Smith in town. We saw Tyler Algier take significant snaps from Bijan last year under Smith, but I think Najee is easily cemented as kind of the 1A. He will be the back that gets more touches, in my opinion, and even a slight increase in this offense's efficiency will give him a great opportunity for some positive touchdown regression and a solid fantasy season. The reality with Najee is he's safe. Like, I don't see Najee burning you. We know who Najee is. He's probably going to get a similar number of points as he did in the past couple seasons. He's not going to blow up and be the RB5, but depending on how your roster was drafted up until the point where you pick Najee, you might want that safety at your RB2 spot if you have some risky wide receivers with massive ceiling. At the end of the day, not a super flashy, sexy pick, but he's someone that'll be very solid for you throughout most of the season, in my opinion. Someone next to Najee, though, that does have a much greater ceiling to me, Javonte Adams. He's an RB1 to me. I really don't believe the sparse negative reports that he's going to get cut, that he's bad, that he's this, that. This Denver offense will probably take a solid leap from one of the league's worst to like a middle-of-the-pack offense, I think. I think Sean Payton will have a very positive influence on this team. But that increase, while not amazing, is going to be fantastic for Javonte's efficiency, and he should see some great pass-catching numbers with a rookie quarterback in a Sean Payton offense. We've seen a lot of running backs under Sean Payton's system see fantastic receiving numbers, which is amazing in PPR. Another great late running back I like, Gus Edwards. He's a great RB2 to me with some upside depending on his usage. This LA Chargers Harbaugh team should run the ball a lot, and Edwards is fairly cheap in ESPN. PPR only play, Austin Eckler. He should be the dump-off king in this Kingsbury offense. I see him as kind of the new man's James White, and that I worry he won't offer much rushing production, especially much efficient rushing production at this stage of his career next to Brian Robinson, but I think he can be kind of a pass-catching merchant and a solid RB2 depending on your team's roster construction. And then the last running back we'll talk about, Rachaad White. Everyone seems to be expecting, the impending doom of Rachaad White this season. I just don't fully buy it. Rachaad White's price on ESPN is pretty high right now, but if he starts to slide in your draft, don't be afraid to buy in. The value in Rachaad White is in his pass-catching capabilities. Bucky Irving is not a massive threat to me in this offense. I think White should still handle a pretty massive workload, but even if that dips a little bit, he's another PPR merchant that I don't mind buying into, especially in your home leagues. He seems fairly safe to me at the running back position. Next, let's go to receivers. First one, another one, point blank period, I think my favorite player this season, Garrett Wilson. I think he's on the same level as those top receivers that are going ahead of him this season, and you can get him at the end of round one. He's going to have a massive target share. He could, go for 160 or more targets. I think Aaron Rodgers will be back, will be healthy, and will be targeting Garrett Wilson heavily. If you're in the later half of round one, buy Garrett Wilson. We're also going to be talking about tight ends in this section. Kind of a combo here. Both Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman are people I really like. I kind of doubt the potential target share that some people expect for Coleman, but the reality is this Bills offense will be a top offense this year, and that bodes well for Coleman's value. Kincaid I love because I expect a high target share for him, which should give him a lot of consistency at the tight end spot, which is kind of hard to come by. Another similar one, both Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison. As I mentioned before, I mentioned previous Kingsbury, for Kyler Murray, people again are kind of overrating how much the Cardinals are going to throw the ball this year. I really don't think it's going to increase that much. Both Kyler Murray and Josh Dobbs had the same amount of passing attempts per game. That said, Harrison's price on ESPN is much easier to digest than on best ball platforms like Underdog, so I'm much happier to buy in because I do think, wow, people are overrating kind of the target volume upside in this offense. I think Harrison should be very steady. He will receive a consistent target share, and this is also going to be a great offense. Harrison should be great in the TD department. He should be a red zone threat. McBride, in a very similar fashion to Dalton Kincaid, I feel a lot safer about his target share in this offense, which provides that consistency, which is hard to come by at tight end. Now we're going to go very late into your draft, someone that you could take with your last pick or even maybe pick up after the draft if your league has an IR spot and you drafted someone like Jonathan Brooks. Jermaine Burton. This is just a Chase holdout upside pick. I am very confident that Jamar Chase will play this season, but who knows? And there's massive upside in having Jermaine Burton on your roster at least until week 1. At that point, you'll know if Chase is playing, which he should be. But in the off chance that something that none of us are expecting to happen happens, you'll have Jermaine Burton already. I just think there's massive upside for that very slim 1% chance. You can easily cut and pick up someone else that you would have spent your last pick on. I don't think there's much risk with taking Jermaine Burton in the last pick of your rounds. Another higher-end wide receiver, Chris Olave. Keep this one very short and simple. He's a wide receiver 1. He's proven, has not received any target share threats this offseason. He's safe. He's going to be good. I love Olave. Another very quick one, maybe less quick, Terry McLaurin. Washington does not have faith in their wide receiver room outside of McLaurin. There are reports that they will run 12 personnel a lot more often because they lack a consistent wide receiver 2, and they just traded away Jahan Dotson. Some people think to get Brandon Ayuk, I just don't see a deal getting done anymore, and I trust McLaurin to receive a constant target share. It'd be a fantastic pick, especially at his current ESPN price. Going back to the tight ends, TJ Hawkinson. You'll find a pretty common thing here. If a player is injured now, will come back in the middle of the season and offers very high upside, I'm usually going to recommend them in your home leagues. Just find a way to kind of survive until the playoffs, sneak in, and hopefully run the table. Hawkinson's a player who's going to maintain a very quality target share in this offense. The Vikings offense is going to throw the ball a lot, even with Sam Darnold. They're still going to throw a lot. They threw it a lot with a bunch of different quarterbacks last year. Not very concerned about that. I believe all of the Vikings receivers can provide fantasy value, even with Jefferson being fully healthy this year. And in terms of how you kind of survive until Hawk gets back, I think Dalton Schultz is a fine pickup to get you through the missed time. He's kind of like Dallas Goedert to me in that the two of them won't get a fantastic target share as, some of the guys ahead of them will, but you can get by on crazy efficiency and the occasional TD to kind of just push through those weeks until you get Hawkinson back for your playoff push. Another great bet because of his target share, Michael Pittman. He's going to demand a lot of targets again. Now, I know potentially those numbers are slightly inflated because of Gardner Minshew instead of Anthony Richardson last year. But the reality is Pittman is still going to get a lot of targets regardless of who's playing at quarterback. We've mentioned it earlier. I still believe in Anthony Richardson as a thrower. I believe that he will throw the ball to Pittman a lot. I'm not too concerned about A.D. Mitchell. He's kind of that deep threat, kind of will alleviate Pittman having to be the deep threat all the time. Josh Downs being hurt also benefits Pittman earlier in the season. Pittman's ESPN price is high, but I still do like the player. Consider him, but don't reach for him. On ESPN, at least. For someone that, is more of a talent bet than a target share bet, I love JSN. The Seahawks will continue to throw the ball a lot, at least at a decent clip. It may decrease slightly with, new head coaching changes. But I still think JSN is the player that he was drafted to be. Tyler Lockett is already dealing with a leg injury. And while I think Lockett will be good to go for week 1, it's a reminder that Lockett does occasionally miss games. And he's also another year older. Could see some regression. I think JSN is talented. So I'm going to take that bet, especially later in those rounds. I think he can be a solid wide receiver, especially more upside the further into the season that we progress. And our last player of the video, Mike Williams. The Jets are going to throw the ball, I think, a lot more than people think. They threw the ball a lot last year with a horrible quarterback. And now Rodgers is back. Pretty simple logic there. Mike Will is a great late pick, especially with defenses keying more in on Wilson and Hall. He is, a lot more easier to digest in best ball where you don't have to worry about starting him. But I think it's great upside for a late wide receiver. It could be someone, especially for teams that maybe went running back heavy, can give you a lot of ceiling for a late wide receiver. And while he's older, I still think Mike Will has some juice in him. Jets are kind of, a good offense I would like to buy into. We'll also throw in Rodgers. I did forget to mention him earlier for quarterbacks. Rodgers isn't a bad late quarterback, I think he could be fairly good this year. Those are the players that I love this year. Let me know if there's anyone I left out, someone I should have included. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.